But it was quite a story, man.
Then I see this PT councilman, a bad character. He goes there and says, "Oh, Vorcaro." And you said that Vorcaro had Nicolas Ferreira's number and that, wow, what a crime. Now you say that Flavio was laundering money? Money because of the, oh, you gotta be kidding me, man.
First, Ibanez, governor of the federal district, who is almost being arrested right now precisely because of the embezzlement at BRB Bank in the purchase of Banco Master. Second, Claudio Castro, governor of Rio de Janeiro, who this week had a raid by the federal police and even had to give up his pre-candidacy for the Senate for Rio de Janeiro and could be arrested at any moment. Roberto Campos, the former president of the central bank during Jair Bolsonaro's government, the main person responsible for the growth of Banco Master. Tarcísio de Freitas and Bolsonaro were the two biggest campaigns blessed with donation money from Fabiano Zettel, Daniel Vorcaro's brother-in-law, in multi-million amounts. Another very famous person, Nicolas Ferreira, who traveled 11 times on Daniel Vorcaro's private jet. And also the Lagoinha Church here in Belo Horizonte, where the head pastor André Valadão, together with Fabiano Zettel, who is currently in prison, has many connections with Banco Master. And finally, the cherry on top, which is the presidential candidate that the angry supporters defend so much, Flavio Rachadinha, who the whole country saw asking Daniel Vorcaro for 130 million reais. Not to help a movie, but to launder this money to help support Eduardo Bolsonaro in the United States to create an illegal slush fund for Flavio Bolsonaro's presidential campaign this year. And of course, the Bolsonaro family loves money. So you can be sure that this money, besides not being private money, is money stolen from public coffers, from retirees, from Banco Master account holders, and from all those millions of people who invested in this bank's credits. And I ask you, where on this list is Dilma Rousseff? Where on this list is President Lula? So, we have to put these terms in a very clear way. The Bolsomaster scandal is the scandal of the right wing. So, we are very eager for Daniel Vorcaro's testimony under a plea deal, because it's testimony that will put the entire Bolsonaro family behind bars. Everyone is going to keep Jair company. It's going to be something incredible. This year's Christmas party will be something exceptional. They'll all be together behind bars. Jair Bolsonaro, Flavio Bolsonaro, and soon this one will actually be the first Eduardo Bolsonaro, who even has his trial scheduled for the 16th now for another conviction. Where on this list, or on any other list, is the name of the PT? Because the Bolsonaro supporters love to say, it's Lula, Lula is corrupt, Lula steals, PT, I don't know what. They have no project for the country. Their only project is to be against PT, to be against Lula. And now the whole of Brazil has really seen what the Bolsonaristas are capable of. Really, Juliana, stealing and plundering the assets of Brazilians to put it in the Bolsonaro family's pocket.
Come on, this damn corruption scandal at Banco Master started with the PT in Bahia, and you can't run away from this here, man. Guido Mantega, you know very well, you know Jacques Wagner, he's the senator from Bahia. These guys started this corruption scheme, and look, I don't cover up for anyone.
I just think that next time we do an interview, we need to take away the chloroquine and the rabid cattle's IP, because otherwise he gets really stressed and starts saying things that make no sense at all. So honestly, the explanation we give is very simple. The rabid cattle, they go around in circles, but they can't explain it to the Brazilian people. Why did their presidential candidate, who could also be arrested at any moment and taken to join his father in jail, ask for 134 million reais from Cara, who is currently in prison for the biggest banking scandal in this country? So, there's no point in talking about the PT or Lula, because it's always like this. Whenever we confront the ruminant cattle of chloroquine and IP detergent, all they know how to do is shout. Then they shout about Lula, shout about Dilma, I don't know what else. Let's stick to the facts, because the Brazilian people need to know what Flavio Bolsonaro and the Bolsonaro family did with the 130 million from Daniel Vorcaro. What was that money used for? The impact of this on the elections is very serious. Flavio, besides being able to withdraw his candidacy at any time, whether by his own will or even because the Liberal Party sees Flavio as a weak candidate, Flavio can be arrested at any moment because look, the investigations that are going on right now are superficial investigations. When Daniel Volcaro actually releases his full plea testimony, we will see not only those few audios that were released, the few messages from the Bolsonaro family that were given to the media in which they asked him for millions. But we will see photos, we will see videos, we will see photos, we will see videos of the Bolsonaro family's entire relationship with him. Because look, it's very funny how the Bolsonaro family says they have nothing to do with this, that it's a scandal from the Brazilian left. But the one who invited Daniel Volcaro to watch the movie at his own house was Flavio Rahadinha. President Lula, on the other hand, when he met with Volcaro, it was to say something very simple. Volcaro, I'm not going to help you with anything. You're on your own. That's why there was a formal meeting between President Lula and the imprisoned banker, so we could say, I'm not going to take part in this nonsense. Very different from you, who only know how to shout and talk about the PT and Lula, who besides making millions and millions, hundreds, from the money stolen from Daniel Volcaro, even invited him to dinners, to watch movies together. In fact, Flavio Rahadinha and Volcaro were almost like boyfriends, honestly, so this needs to be admitted publicly. And if Flavio Bolsonaro is in fact a somewhat sensible person, he, for his own good, for his family's and for the PL's candidacy, if I were you, Flavio, I would resign right now, not only from your pre-candidacy for president, but even from your position as senator before you get arrested.
He spoke, insulted, cursed, and I wanted to hear him admit that Volcaro went there to eat with Lula. Because come on, if asking for sponsorship bothers you so much, intervening in a negotiation for the sale of the bank should too, right? And especially because the sale was leaning toward Lula's son. I just wanted the guy to have integrity here, to be a man and say, no, look, people connected to Lula met with Volcaro. Lula met with Volcaro more than once. Why don't you say it? Are you afraid, man? Are you afraid you won't have a party to run under? Are you their little lapdog? Because here's the thing. Don't come and say I have to be careful talking to him just because he attacked Nicolas Ferreira here for things Nicolas didn't do. He said that Flavio is a gangster's boyfriend, but that gangster was actually dating Lula. So inside the Alvorada, they were the ones dating in there.
Look, Juliana, I strongly recommend that the PL colleagues seek urgent medical treatment because the situation is really tough for him. About the topic we're actually debating, it's very simple. If it were in another country, Senator, a federal deputy traveling to a foreign country to ask for a surcharge, a tax on our national products. If they had done that in the United States, do you know what the penalty for that person would be? The death penalty. That's a crime against the nation. Or maybe it would be life imprisonment, locked up forever. But here in our country, it seems like everything is just a big party. In Brazil, there aren't enough laws, and existing ones aren't enforced. So, when we see criminals like Flavio Bolsonaro and Eduardo Bolsonaro traveling to foreign countries to ask for extra tariffs on products from their own country, I see that with a lot of sadness. Because who are the real patriots? It's us, together with President Lula, who are rowing this boat to make our country better. With all the struggles and difficulties we have, a Congress that's an enemy of the people, infested with rats and Bolsonaro supporters. We do everything we can. There are projects everywhere. And our country grows more and more each day, together with Lula. Now, it's not possible to think that our sovereignty can be attacked with no consequences. We're not something small, you know. If Trump wants to mess with Lula, he can try, but we will respond. It's not, about attacking the Americans again. We have no interest in attacking anyone. Now, we can't act like the Bolsonaristas do, who are nothing more than a bunch of Trump bootlickers. We can't just accept it in silence. We can't stand by while our producers, our industries, our workers suffer threats and again, extremely high tariffs. From the American president, either we are truly nationalists and think about our country, or we're just a bunch of hypocrites who don't think about anything except the next election and just to get votes.
Volcaro's defense introduced a revised plea bargain. That's significant, isn't it? The document was delivered to the Federal Police and Attorney General's office during a meeting on Monday. On Tuesday, the lawyers submitted an addendum to the document. A meeting between the parties was set for today, but was cancelled because federal police investigators requested more time to review the plea bargain proposal. Remember, last month the federal police rejected the initial plea bargain. Then, Vorcaro changed lawyers, and the new lawyer is Sergio Leonardo, who is now presenting this new plea bargain proposal with Vorcaro. Will he name key people now, Laura? Vorcaro needs to reveal more than what's already on his phones for the plea deal to progress. There's no use repeating what we already know, right?
Yeah, Rodrigo, look, Daniel Vorcaro would have included in this new plea bargain proposal all the mess involving the movie Dark Horse. According to CNN, the banker detailed the request made by Senator Flavio Bolsonaro for this supposed financing of the feature film inspired by the life of former President Jair Bolsonaro, who is now in prison. Vorcaro would have described all the charges and transfers for the movie, which together amounted to at least 60 million reais. We've been saying here that it's the most expensive movie in Brazil's history, right? But it would also look bad not to say anything, Rodrigo, since the whole mess has already been made public. So Vorcaro needs to tell us something we don't know yet, right? Besides that, the second version adds new characters, including people from politics, and also goes deeper into stories that were already mentioned in the previous plea bargain proposal that was rejected by the federal police.
So, in the next few days, we'll find out if the federal police and the Attorney General's office accepted it. It could be an explosive plea bargain, especially for the right wing and Flavio Bolsonaro's candidacy. Yeah, new names might come up in this second plea bargain, including politicians close to the banker, among them those who took part in those parties thrown by Vorcaro with cigars and whiskey back in New York. According to the article published today by O Globo newspaper, Vorcaro spent a total of 12 million reais organizing these events to entertain politicians and authorities in New York.